Donald Trump just sent out a new post about Jeffrey Epstein, and it is impressively unhinged. He's still doubling down on this being a Democratic hoax, and in this post, he even turns on his supporters a little bit, calling them his past supporters, which is just a petty way of saying that he's mad they are criticizing him for covering up the sexual abuse of children. But can we all just not tell Trump that every single time he responds to the Epstein thing, he digs himself deeper in a hole by looking more and more unhinged? We have no time to waste. Let's just break down this post from Trump. You know it's bad when 10 minutes after he sent this out, Marjorie Taylor Greene sent out a vague post that reads, "I want to be clear to everyone, to my family, my district, my staff, everyone. My blind loyalty and faith is only in God and Jesus Christ, my Savior. That is what will guide my decisions, actions, and votes. It doesn't make me perfect, but I will do my absolute best to be faithful, obedient, and follow God." You know it's bad when Marjorie Taylor Greene is like praying to God and telling her audience that she only prays to God and not Trump, right after Trump sends out this impressively unhinged Truth Social post. It starts here. He says, "The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia." So Trump is simultaneously trying to say that this is a hoax that doesn't really exist like some of these other things that he claims are hoaxes, but he's also claiming it does exist and it was just written by Obama, meaning it's probably unfavorable to Donald Trump. That's what I take from that. He then continues to say, even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. All right, Gramps, it's time to get Grandpa in the nursing home. We're already like a third of the way through this tweet, and he can't even get to the point about Epstein before rambling about Hillary Clinton. He then says, "These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates." Oh yeah, I'm sorry the Democratic Party has scammed with things like the Biden cologne, the Biden wristwatches, the Biden coin. Remember when Biden and Jill Biden released Biden coin? Oh wait, it's Trump that is doing this top-down scamming of his supporters, and we need to not stop calling that out. This now says, they're no good at governing or policy. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. Let me just read this line one more time, because he's calling it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and then he refers to MAGA people as past supporters because they're saying, hey, dude, why are you covering up the sexual abuse of children, of little girls? Some people on TV are saying that women were abused. It's not women in this case. It's actual little girls on the Jeffrey Epstein the Jeffrey Epstein list. This then says, unlike Republicans, they stick together. My past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. You are the one that has been hoisted by your own petard, Donald Trump. When your attorney general went on stage and said, the files are sitting on my desk, that was the beginning of the end. When every single Republican politician over the past 5 years has used their political capital in one way or another to support the idea that Democrats are the party of the pedophiles, that's what Republicans used to say, then you cannot be mad when your own supporters get caught up in pedophilia conspiracy theories about you. But to continue, he says, they haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 years long. I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about, with strong prodding by the fake news, is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. This one is not going to go well for him. Listen, when he's making up lies about the Russia hoax or the Hunter Biden laptop hoax, that's rather low stakes. Those are low stakes conspiracy theories. Not for Hunter Biden, that's pretty high stakes. But like for the average American, they're just like, oh, Donald Trump and Democrats are, playing once again. But in this case, it is very clear that Donald Trump is trying to wriggle his way out of any sort of accountability. I mean, dude, we can look at the countless photos of Trump and Epstein together, Trump and Ghislaine together. We can listen to the audio recordings of Epstein saying they were best friends. Trump's name is on the black book, is on the little flight log. Everything that we've gotten so far implicates Donald Trump. So the idea that he's now calling it fake, but also written by Obama, but also a scam, is just not a good look. He then says, let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. Dude, he's throwing his supporters under the bus direct. The post continues to get even crazier, but really quickly, Trump straight up lied to the American people when he said he wouldn't touch Medicaid or Medicare. We've been talking a lot about Epstein, but it is worth talking about the big ugly bill. We'll make more videos about that because it will directly threaten the healthcare of tens of millions of Americans. My relative recently turned 65, for example, and she is getting flooded with scam Medicare calls, shady flyers, and misleading ads. Now, there's a service I want to introduce you to called Chapter. I trust this service, and I've gotten emails from fans saying it has helped them a lot. They're the only national Medicare advisor that searches every single plan and gives you clear, honest guidance. And listen, the call is free. The call is free, the advice is unbiased, and the average person working with Chapter saves $1,100. So with this new big ugly bill, you want to make sure you're maximizing your savings. So whether you're already on Medicare or you're about to turn 65, don't go at it alone. You can call the number right there or in the description below, 706-312-8635. Call this number. It's free. It's simple. It can save you thousands. Thank you to Chapter, and back to the video. MeidasTouch pointed out, holy shit, Trump continues to post his way through the Epstein scandal and just threw his supporters under the bus. He is panicking. Trump says he is now calling it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax and disowns his supporters who believe in finding the truth about Epstein's crimes as past supporters who, quote, bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. He then says, past supporters haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, and accuses them of being conned by the left. But something I also noticed is he calls his own supporters weaklings. He says right here, let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. He's basically saying that MAGA supporters, his own supporters, have been conned into doing the Democrats' work, and by doing the Democrats' work, he means trying to bring accountability and transparency to one of the most high-profile sex trafficking cases in recent history. How does Donald Trump think this is a good idea? You know what we should do? Let's read some of the replies on his Truth Social account. Let's go to Truth Social, and let's scroll down. Top reply, why was Epstein in prison then? How about Ghislaine? For a hoax? I don't think so. This is the hill we all die on. He's basically saying we're not backing down. And that's a really good point made by this Trump supporter that I don't think I've touched on in this video. Why were Ghislaine and Epstein in prison if this was all a Democratic hoax? He's calling the entire thing a Democratic hoax. Someone said, none of this makes any sense, and I hate to see you losing overall support over this unforced error in messaging to your base and Americans. They're still giving a lot of charitability to Donald Trump. They're trying to blame it on Pam Bondi or Dan Bongino. But dude, Donald Trump is the one who is clearly stopping this in a top-down way. Oh my God, someone said, the truth is, if it wasn't for Trump winning in 2016, we would have never known just how corrupt our government really is. You know, that's kind of true, but not in the way this MAGA supporter thinks. I'm definitely more aware of government corruption now. Like new channels of government corruption. I didn't know much about the emoluments clause before Donald Trump broke it. So I do know more about corruption than I did before Trump took office. This says, people you nominated for your own administration talked about Epstein for years. Now you're saying it never was without giving us the proof. And you don't want the support of your full base simply because they don't believe what you do? Someone said, horrible messaging, blink twice if you are in danger, Mr. President. Oh no, this Trump supporter wrote a poem. Dear Democrats, it doesn't matter how many bots or fake accounts or phony Photoshop memes you idiots come up with. Is he defending Epstein in a poem right here? What? And by the way, you want to talk about bad Photoshop memes, just scroll through Trust. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate these videos I make, drop a like, subscribe. Let's continue to hold this admin accountable. This is a very serious case. We'll continue to cover it. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.